Fake fiat printed digital cash has flooded the markets around the world. Inflation has picked up significantly in so many places and the public doesn't understand it. Just look at tuition, electricity, healthcare, cars, food, practically anything. Just don't look at the core PCE rate, the Fed's favorite fake metric to determine what they call inflation. If you look there, they can't even get it to 2%, thereby justifying a continuous need to be in the market. Investors love it because they believe this is helping their 7 shares of Amazon, but those who have seen this before know that truly isn't the case. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. I have a massive video for you today. I'm going to talk about the Fed repos that have expanded. This is so important for everybody to pay attention to because it truly acknowledges what we have been looking at, what we have been assuming that the Federal Reserve would do, and it's all here today. After that, I'm going to cover what's going on in the job market. I'm going to show you the mainstream news, then I'm going to show you what they don't want you to see. Let's get into it right away. The New York Federal Reserve Bank said Friday it will continue to inject billions into the U.S. financial plumbing on a daily basis through November 4th. We were told in the beginning of October this would stop. October 10th would be the last day and they would not need to go beyond that. Initially, however, it was actually just supposed to be a couple days. That's all we needed. Then, okay, fine, end of quarter, but it continued on into early October. We saw this going and persisting, and I said they will probably need to extend it. Who knows how long they will have to go on for. Bank of America and other large financial institutions, I believe it was either JP or Goldman, said that they would in fact see the Federal Reserve printing approximately $20 billion for the foreseeable future in any given month. This tells you right here that they are in fact going into that territory. I can't believe what the mainstream is willing to project to everybody. Look, if you want to just admit everything is broken, everything is screwed up, and the Federal Reserve is going to have to be there to try and stall what is inevitable. If you at least acknowledge that, okay, fine. Then we have an argument here. But to suggest that everything's okay, I don't know what kind of world you're living in, but the real data, the real information shows completely otherwise, and that's what I tried to bring to you. We can have opinions on where we see this going. That's a whole different story, but the real data can't be ignored. So here is the actual Federal Reserve website, and you can see it in plain black and white written right here. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe that other news article I showed you. You can see this for yourself directly on newyorkfed.org. There will be a link in the description. As always, here you can see at the very bottom where they outline the process at which they are going to be injecting money into the financial system. This just shows you what we had been talking about, and there's no doubt that the Fed, number one, needs to be the lender of last resort, but now they actually have to be there on a daily basis to ensure the market stays liquid. This isn't okay. This isn't just a temporary issue that they claimed it would be, that the mainstream started to repeat and still is to this day. No, this is something much, much worse. I have been warning about the liquidity problems that the market will experience, and the Federal Reserve will have to go and step up its antics in order to prevent this from completely collapsing, from drying up, and the Federal Reserve is there to open up the taps. Now, I wanted to lead into this video showing you this information because it is so integral. Yes, you can understand some of the basics about what's happening in the jobs market. Maybe you want to look at the mainstream stats. I get that. Totally fine. However, we need to look into what the central banks are doing because their activities are far, far more important than anything you're going to see with the suits and ties on television and in the newspapers pretending that that when their mouth is moving, they are actually actively doing things that make a difference in your life. But I assure you, if you pay attention to the central banks, to the formation of these central banks, and how they actually operate on a daily basis, you are going to find out some information that doesn't make you too happy, I assure you. September unemployment rate falls to 3.5%, a 50-year low, as payrolls rise by 136,000. I thought I could do it with a straight face, but I couldn't. It dropped 0.2 percentage points. This is fantastic. I would love to see this go into the negatives. I mean, I would do a video about it just to cheer them on. How fantastic this will be when it actually goes into the negative. It wouldn't surprise me, really. I'm not even kidding, because it's so hilarious to see this number decline in the way it has. And what's even funnier is that people believe it. September jobs 1 month net change. Just wanted to show you this here because, as always, we do find that there are certain jobs, very popular jobs, in this case here, health services, okay? I have shown you this before, and I have actually given a breakdown whereby we see the most popular jobs, the ones that are getting scooped up, that are really making up a lot of these. We find, number one, they're temporary jobs, but in many cases, the full-time jobs, especially in the health services, is not surgeons and specialists. It is people making $24,000 a year. Now, if that's what you're making, if that's what you earn, hey, you got to do what you got to do. I understand. But for many people, especially those living in the major cities, $24,000 ain't gonna cut it. Speaking of cuts, robots to cut 200,000 US bank jobs in the next decade. This will probably go even beyond that from what I've seen. Every single company that I'm aware of has some sort of robo-advisor or algorithm or computer program and app, something that is actually increasing productivity, that's what they call it, which is eliminating jobs. Now, we may not have seen those elimination of jobs just yet, but of course, inevitably, there will be another recession. The recession will see so many of these people getting laid off, but this time around, they're not going to be needed when things do recover. When that recovery might be a year, it might be 2 years, it might be 5 years, who knows how long it will take. When there is a recovery, the technology by then will probably be better than it is today. And of course, we're going to see a lot of people who are no longer needed. This was originally brought to me by my subscribers, HP to slash 7,000 to 9,000 jobs over 3 years as part of a major restructuring. This term here, if you ever worked for one of these big establishments, you've heard this many times before. Restructuring means eliminating jobs. That's all it really means. And then, of course, you have to take on the work of 3 or 5 other people that were working in your department. If you can't keep up, you get the boot. This is not a good thing in many cases for a lot of these people. So that's 7,000 to 9,000 jobs. Let's see where that goes. Of course, I will keep you up to date. WeWork's leaders told staff that job cuts are coming as soon as this month. Of course, they're looking to cut a few thousand people. We'll see what the actual numbers are. I don't think it's a good idea for a company to be so overzealous, to be so intense in this way that they have. All the excitement surrounding it, trying to get everybody riled up. And then it completely does a 180 and now people are losing their jobs. I don't understand what's so worrisome about slower growth that is consistent. Why do you want to have these huge ups and down swings? It's really beyond me. Signs of a slowdown permeate the Permian Basin, the 55 million acres in West Texas and New Mexico, whose abundant oil and widespread fracking fueled America's quest for energy independence, dragged into the downdraft of this year's 19% drop in drilling are orders for everything from giant earth movers that build well site roads to chemicals used to kill bacteria during the hydraulic fracturing. Rig counts are down, hotel proceeds are declining, home sales are slowing, and fewer jobs are available than just last year. So if you're thinking to yourself, I'm dealing with fracking, I'm looking at oil, that's it, that's the end of the story. No, this is what I always talk about. Sometimes I refer to it as as the ripple effect. Whenever there's a problem, whether it's Sears closing in a particular mall, or in this case here, we're having problems with one industry, you have to then go out physically, and you will see in these cases here, rig counts are down. Okay, that means less employment. You have the companies that are going to be hurting. Maybe they're going to lay people off. You have the hotel proceeds. Okay, so now people in the surrounding area are being affected by that. Maybe they're going to lose their jobs. Home sales are slowing. The construction's going to slow down. You're going to have house prices that are staying flat, or maybe they're actually declining. You could see all of the other industries that go along into that being affected by it. Okay, it's important to look at this on a deeper level. Never just take what you see at face value. Bed Bath & Beyond increases projected store closings. I brought you information previously, and then you will find time and time again they actually get worse as time goes on. This happens to be just one. Major layoffs are coming at Sports Illustrated today. I just showed you different examples, and it doesn't really matter what industry we look at. That's the whole point, okay? Juul Labs is preparing a staff restructuring, there's that word again, as the e-cigarette maker braces for slower sales following a mysterious vaping-related illness and proposed U.S. ban on flavors that make up more than 80% of its sales. The company employs 3,900 people, and this could really turn out bad for many of these individuals. Deere to lay off 163 U.S. workers as the trade issues dent their equipment demand. We have seen all of the money that has been given from the U.S. government to the farmers, the big farms, of course, getting the majority of the money. And still, they're hurting. People are losing their jobs, again, in the ripple effect. So you might have a problem with those farms themselves, but also those who are dealing with the farmers, in this case, Deere and Co., having a problem as well. Truck manufacturer Daimler is laying off hundreds of workers at 2 local Freightliner plants. 450 jobs are going away, and another 450 will be gone in another location. This is just showing you there are so many different industries that are having this problem. You know, I'd like to focus on the retail, and that's certainly one sector that has taken a beating, but look everywhere. I've just shown you all different types of industries, and yet so many people ignore it. So far this year, US retailers have announced 8579 store closures and 3571 store openings. 1,000 of those store openings, by the way, are dollar stores. This is the most recent information. I think it's October 4th, just bringing you the newest data. You can see these statistics piling up everywhere. In this case, global semiconductor sales down 15.9% year to year in August. You need to focus on all of the different statistics, especially those which tend to be leading indicators. Semiconductors is one of those. That's why these companies here really took a hit when the trade issues started to roll out. They really performed badly in general, but as soon as we get some good news out there, even though it's fake, you see these particular stocks, they might pop at least for that day. Semiconductors are important. Also taking a look at South Korea whenever they report something. And of course, there's a whole long list, things that I've shown you so many times before, but this happens to be just one of those. As always, if you want to keep track of all this information, dailyjobcuts.com has what you need. I'm going to end the video there. If you found it informative, click the like button. It's just one button. If you click it, it helps me. Thank you very much. If you want to learn how to build a business from scratch online, this free e-course has everything that you need. I built this on purpose for people who have been asking me for solutions. What do I do? How can I actually do anything? I'm powerless. Of course, that isn't the case. You have to make the steps in order to achieve what you want. Check it out at the AmazonGPS.com. If you want the financial education you were not taught in school, these 2 books have everything you need. All the details from the foundation, history, the asset classes, it's all in these 2 books. Definitely check it out at the link in the description. If you want the audiobook, that is available at themoneygps.com. Hang on a second, hold on, don't go anywhere. This video is so important, and clearly not enough people watched it because this is a foreshadowing of what we are going to see. Click on it and I will see you there.